Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 223 of our Your Next Level Mastermind. Our topic for today is Feast and Famine Fix, creating a steady income stream you can count on. It's a topic that very few people want to talk about. And I'm not expecting any brilliant answers here, but I would love you to share your experiences, both good and bad. I mean, we've all been through this. I mean, I have this challenge every single month because of family health challenges. I need a significant amount of income on my plate from my client base before I can even put food on the table, let alone pay for anything else. So it's important from a cash flow point of view. It's important from a confidence point of view, etc. That's the reason for the topic. For those who are watching this replay, if you are running a small business, these people come from a variety of backgrounds. Some are extremely successful, some are moderately successful, and some are more experienced than they're prepared to let on. But they are darn good at what they do, and I trust every single one of them. I appreciate them giving up their time. So for those watching the replay, do yourself a favor, reach out and talk to Tony and to Brian and Alan, Vangelis and Daniel, Kristine, George, okay? Tony, reach out to them. Connect with them, talk with them about you and your situation, because there's probably doors of opportunity they can open for you that you have never, ever considered previously. So with that in mind, let me help you get to understand and know and appreciate these very special people. Let's start with you, George, if you don't mind. Just share a little bit about you, followed by you, Kristine.
Hello, everyone. Morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's George Naugle. All business owners work 30% less and earning 25% more in 90 days.
See, short, sweet, and to the point. 90 days. Thank you, George. Kristine.
I'm Kristine Best. I'm a wellness strategist. I empower leaders, entrepreneurs, and if they have teams, I help them empower them too. And I do that using my Liberate system, a blueprint to wellness, with the aim of wellness in totality. So if people are not performing very well due to aches and pains or other things that might be distracting them, they might not be sleeping well, that is of interest to you as a business person because you're losing productivity. That's costing you money. So I help find out why that is happening. I help to get rid of the habits and behaviors or the problems with the system that might be causing these problems. And I help set up the procedures and healthy habits and behaviors that will take you where you want to be.
Thank you, Kristine, very much indeed.
Thank you.
Alan, thank you for joining us, because I know you're on a lunch break from a conference in London, so I really appreciate you being there.
Just here for half an hour today because our lunch break is earlier. So I'll participate in the discussion best I can. But just to introduce myself, I'm Alan Edwards. I'm a property investor and developer from Hampshire in the UK. And we take unused or underused buildings and we transform their value by converting them into high quality residential. So, you know, the empty office in the high street or the retail shop that's shut down, we can transform that value from relatively low commercial value to relatively high residential value, and we contribute towards solving the massive housing crisis which we have in the UK as well. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for making the effort to be here, because I know it's a tough call for you where you are right now.
My pleasure. It's no problem. Cheers.
Tony B, followed by Vangelis.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tony Buonaiuto. The Buonaiuto movement is helping people help people. And I start with people who've been very strong for everyone else, but they're secretly stuck, exhausted, sometimes spiritually broken, most of the time. I help them break free from their inner pain and the patterns, their past sabotages, and things that affect their relationships and their lives at whole. And I'm qualified to do this because I've lived it. My addictions, my burnout, running from myself very often in my past life created a death spiral, I call it. And now I guide others through the proven process to heal themselves from the inside out and help them live happily and free. Thanks.
Vangelis, followed by Tina.
Yes, that was Tony. Yeah, hi, this is Vangelis.
Thank you.
I work with companies and help them improve their key performance indicators, but I look at the big picture, and part of the big picture for me is the human element. And many times, what a company needs to help resolve whatever challenge they have is not remedied by a business tool. And I incorporate the psychological barriers, the hidden strategies that are in people's minds. And many times, people hire me for a technical resolution, and the technical resolution is a human element issue, like I just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vangelis, and thank you for correcting me, my man. I appreciate that. Okay. Tina, nice to see you, followed by Daniel.
So, like a wedding planner focuses everything wedding from the cake to the venue, I help my clients through divorce from the thinking about it to the healing about it. I help them go through all of the emotional aspects of that, making sure that they're on good footing to make great choices and helping their attorney as they go through the process. This helps them save hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And my name is Tina Huggins. I'm your divorce coach specialist, divorce planning specialist, restorative family mediator, and conflictual co-parenting coach. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Tina. Very much indeed. Daniel, followed by Brian.
So, hello everyone. First of all, it's a pleasure to be with all of you as always. So, I'm Daniel Kobryner, live in London. I'm a heart-centered mental fitness coach, international motivational speaker, and host of a transformational podcast called Redesign Your Life Today. I help spiritual small business owners over 40 who feel stuck, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their true path to quiet the mental chatter, build emotional resilience, and reconnect with their inner wisdom so that they can move forward with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Through my new transformational program called 7 Weeks to Mental Mastery and Inner Peace, I guide them to strengthen their mindset, overcome internal saboteurs, and realign fully with who they truly are so that they can become truly unstoppable in life and business. My superpower is creating a deeply safe and judgment-free space where clients feel empowered to express themselves openly and vulnerably without fear of being judged, criticized, or given unsolicited advice. In that space, real breakthroughs happen. If you or anyone you know is ready to redesign their life from the inside out, I would love you to connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And please, you've got an event coming up soon. Would you like to make sure that you put the links to that event in the chat as well?
Yeah, exactly. A LinkedIn event on Friday about mental fitness and positive intelligence. Thank you, Peter. I will do that.
Thank you, Daniel, very much indeed. Brian K McNeill, followed by Gabby.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Brian K McNeill, and I help people with the critical skill of entrepreneurship. There are so many amazing people that offer services and even products that genuinely do help others. And a lot of these amazing people do not earn the money that they could or that they should. And very often the reason why they do not earn the money is they simply do not know how to sell it well, or they're using antiquated methods of selling that no longer work, or even more commonly, they have a negative connotation about the concept of selling, and they keep themselves from doing it. That keeps them from earning the money that they could and should. And what I do is actually teach them what to say and do so they can sell themselves and their services better than they ever have before, so that they can earn more money than ever before. My work also infuses them with the confidence that they need to persevere and to earn. And I do it through my sales coaching, my workshops, my talks from a platform, or my books. I've just published my 8th book, Brian K. McNeill. I consider myself a sales skills improvement evangelist.
I have trouble keeping up with your titles, but I love them anyway. And this topic title is right up your alley, Brian. There's no
Big
doubt about
time,
it.
big time. I almost want to cry talking about it.
Gabby, over to you.
Hi, so I'm Gabby, and I do a crossover of web design, brand strategy, and UX stuff. So what that is basically I help people get seen online in a very unique way and stand out through purpose. So if you're a purpose-driven brand or a purpose-driven just business in general, I work with those kind of people to establish their credibility and kind of get seen online. That's what I do.
Thank you, Gabby, very much indeed. We've got apologies from Yvonne Jones, Mark Engstar, Helena Appelkova, John D. Allen. John always is here. He's always the first here, but he's having problems with power and connections and generators and goodness knows what, so he can't make it. And Dr. Chris Williams, he can't make it because he got a very early start in the morning. So in the interest of time, because I know for all of you are busy people and I'm borrowing your time and your expertise, let's look at the topic, and I'll take you in the order of you raise your hands. Feast and famine fix. Creating a steady income you can count on. Share your thoughts with this, and I look forward very much to hearing them. And thank you again in advance for your contributions. And one last thing, please make sure you put your best contact details in the chat so people can reach out and connect with you. Brian, over to you.
When I first summoned the courage to leave corporate America and start my own business, I was so excited. And my first month, 2 months, I made incredible income. My first couple of months. And then that income got less and less and less until it was no income at all. And so badly, I had to go back into corporate America. But then once I got my confidence up again, I launched into business again. And the same thing happened. I made a lot of money up front and then less and less and less until it was gone. That feast or famine, and that happened to me 3 times, and it was about to happen a 4th until I figured out some things. I feel like I need to give myself some grace on this topic of feast or famine, because at one point in my life, I felt I was the king of it. I know how to make a lot of money, and then I know how to make less and less until it was no money. And I think I figured out the secret to offer my fix. Every time I went from boom dollars, you make a lot of sales and all the money come in, now you got to service it. Now you got to take care of the clients that you just earned by selling them well. And what I learned was that the famine happened for me in direct proportion to how less prospecting I was doing. I made the money and I serviced the client and I prospected less. So the less I continued looking for business, that was how less money came in. But what I've learned is, and I'm also feeling like maybe that's a part of it. I watch nature shows. The most successful hunters in nature, they still go through famine seasons. They still go through seasons where they're hungry. And I'm wondering if that's just a part of the game. Because when we just boom, 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 all fat and all love, we get less hungry and our skills erode. And I'm wondering if that hunger is what we need to stay sharp into the game. The famine periods can be smaller if you just remember that we have to keep looking for business, even if we got all the business we should ever need. McDonald's has all the clients they're ever going to need, but they still advertise. If we keep prospecting, despite the success, we can minimize famine seasons. That's what I want to offer.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, Tony B, over to you.
Maybe I should let Alan go first since he has to sign out soon.
Okay, that's kind of you. Alan, over to you.
No, it's very kind of you, Tony. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've just got a couple of quick points following on from what Brian has said. I totally agree with what Brian was saying. And I think what I've come to realize is that I need to spend a lot of time on revenue generating activities. And the prime revenue generating activity is speaking to sell. And it's not something that comes naturally to me, but I think that with coaching, people can actually improve their ability to earn money through speaking to sell. And usually it's a matter of speaking one to many, because to speak one to lots of people takes a lot of time. If you can speak one to many, then it increases your opportunity to generate sales from your message, whatever it is. Thanks very much, Peter. Thanks, Tony. Cheers.
Thanks, Alan. In other words, leveraging your time, right? Yeah,
You're
well
welcome.
done. Okay, Tony B.
So this is a very interesting topic, and Brian did a great job laying it out for us with his life experiences. I think I'm going to go down the path that it's a mindset, feast or famine. And for me, I know in my past, the more I've thought about feast, I create it. But the more I think about famine, I also create that. Meaning the way I got to the famine, the negative part of it, keeps me stuck in that negative part of it. I don't have enough. I'm going to lose what I have. I can't get what I want. And that mindset creates patterns of thinking in me, when in reality, and first of all, the most important thing is that the minute you say feast or famine, I think about money. And it's not always all about money. But financial insecurity is the biggest part of what I consider feast or famine, because if you say you don't need money, you just don't know where to shop, I say. But the point is that the more I go down these thinking patterns, the more I get what I'm asking for. So in the feast world, it works the same way. When I'm energetic and fired up, my bank account usually has some money in it, and I could do more things and move more freely. I can advertise better. I could pay for ads. I could build a business around having some financial freedom. But when my bank account looks negative, I'm not spending anything. And the first thing I cut back is marketing and sales. And then the death spiral starts, because if I don't have marketing and sales, I don't have new clients. And then I can't help anybody when I'm stuck in my own stuff. So the best thing that I do, and it's back to most of these masterminds end up here for me, it's being grounded and being where my feet are, and enjoying the moment. And Vangelis always talks about gratitude list and being grateful for everything I have. And that it keeps kind of more of an even keel in my life, some peace and calm, not overreacting to life challenges that create these feast and famine ideas, because I got food in my fridge. My family's happy and healthy, and my wife's relationship, my relationship with my wife is successful and very fruitful at the moment. So who's got it better than me is the way I put it. Nobody. So this is a really good topic. Love it, every minute of it. Look forward to hearing everybody else. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. And I love your perspective very much. Vangelis.
What everyone has said so far, and the mindset, I live a very simple life, and you've heard the thing of living within your means, and a lot of it is doing what you intuitively hear and are inspired to do. I fortunately, when I was in the corporate world, I kept my options open, and I joined several startups. And I was able to participate in that. I said, if I'm going to do this, I want a piece of the pie. And I got a piece of pie of several companies. And fortunately, I did what I thought to do, and I left IBM at a time when, you know, IBM was like the biggest thing around. And it wasn't that I left IBM, I actually pursued an opportunity, and it was a startup and so forth. And so I was part of 3 different startups, and I participated in the options they had. And I'm living off of those options, those things I started back in the 90s. So that's one thing. And number 2 is to realize what you really want to do in life and live within your means. And number 3 is when you are, I had met some very, very wealthy people, and I had several financial planners during my time. And a lot of them said, we don't play in the sandbox that you play in. Because I made 100% of my money when I invested. And they said, that's great. But that's not the best way to do that, because it took all my time. And there's these things started in the 50s by some very wealthy people. It's called a universal index fund. And it's covered by, it looks like an insurance account, but it's not really. They play in a different market. They never lose. Nothing is taxed. And they get to borrow on their own money. And I can't talk more about it here, but that's what I wish my planner would have done 50 years ago when I started. But it's not too late to start. So it's investing wisely. And if anyone wants to know more about it, my contact stuff's in there. But that's another thing that I would suggest. So live within your means, work with other companies and do their investment options. And then I would do this universal fund. Thanks.
Well said. Well said. From the outside in. Thank you very much. Who'd like to contribute next? You want me to name you?
I can't believe you guys aren't raising your hands.
Christine, what about
Probably
you?
really good too.
So sales is not my forte as such. However, I don't mind a challenge, and I find it a bit challenging. And, you know, business can be up and down, and that, you know, that causes a bit of stress. But, you know, you've got to find a model in your business that will work so that you can have regular income. And there are 2 things that I did to, you know, to try and cover those, you know, those times when, you know, you might be a bit low in funds. So if you've got a regular subscription-based business or a program that runs for a certain amount of time, like it could run for a month or it could run for 6 months. I have a 6-month one. I'm about to design a 1-month one to sort of make it a little bit more affordable for people, and a shorter period of time that people can sort of work towards, you know, because sometimes a longer period of time people don't want to engage in something that long, whereas a 30-day program would work quite well. So I'm about to design one of those. Yeah, so I'm looking at different ways to even out my income.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Just
Okay.
one comment, and good luck with your 30-day program.
Yeah, thank
One
you.
comment. You said, I'm not all that au fait or fussed with sales, or words to that effect. Can I share with you that we are all in sales?
Yeah, I realise that.
We are all in sales.
Yeah, I realise that.
It's just a
But it's
matter of-
not something I really like to do.
Yeah, but you love to serve people, you like to help people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
That's selling.
Kristine, you have to stop saying that. Your subconscious mind is listening. Can I reframe, suggest a reframe? The worst
Okay.
thing you can say about yourself, the worst thing you can get away with saying about yourself in any area is that I'm getting better at it. Okay. And that awareness of it makes it true. Even though you,
Oh, well, that's
instead
true.
of saying, sales is not my forte and I don't like sales, I'm getting better at sales. That frees your subconscious mind to move you in direction towards what you want. You cannot move in the opposite direction of what you want. You know, it doesn't work like that. So when you started off today, you just said, sales is not my forte. That's a sales presentation right there. You just did a sales presentation on how you don't want it to be your forte. And I love you. You have to stop saying that. Your subconscious mind is going to try to prove you right. And the words you let escape your lips, they are spirits, and they're going to try to prove you right. So you're tripping yourself up. You're repelling
Okay.
money when you say that stuff.
Okay. I am getting better. I
Yes,
am
you
getting
are.
a bit more, I am getting more confident with it. Yes.
You are. You've heard me say this before, Kristine, and I hope you hear. This is mindset, and exactly what Brian's on about. You don't need to make more sales at all. Right?
No, I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah? Well, I'm going to say
Yep.
it anyway. Okay? You
Okay.
need to cultivate more buyers. You need to cultivate more buyers. It's the way that you look at it. But thank you. Thank you for your honesty, Kristine.
Okay.
And I wish you good luck. And let us know when this 30-day new session starts so we can help you. All right?
Okay. Thanks.
George, back to you. Hope this audio has been fixed up because what you're about to say sounded pretty darn good to me.
Okay, well, I had time to think about it. Can you hear me, everybody? All right. Yeah, I actually had to unplug and plug some things in anyway. We'll figure it out. So anyway, everyone's brought up amazing points. And, thank you everyone for your contribution. And I believe that we all learn from each other and we all have something of value to say. I liken it, I'm going to use the example of the car industry. Okay. If they only solely relied on selling cars all the time, it would be feast and famine for them. But they don't. They have so many different other avenues of making revenue as well. So they have the maintenance portions. They also have the repairs that get done, but they sell accessories. They add so many different layers to their businesses that they don't rely entirely on our sales, right? So my advice to everyone, including myself, because I used to be there and I'm not there now, but that's okay. It's having the awareness is to actually have other forms of income that come in as well, and or pieces like Kristine had said of different programs or lower end programs, because not everybody has the money to spend on a higher end program. And the other thing that I wanted to say was, when we do get a big lump sum of money, our minds right away think that, my God, I made it. And then, like Brian had said, we stop prospecting, or if you want to say, we stop thinking about the future.
I think when you get money, you get comfortable.
Yes, and that's the thing. Getting comfortable is the worst thing for everybody, because then we get lazy. Like the lion after the kill, we eat the food or whatever, and then, or sorry, the lion eats the food and then just gets fat and lazy, and it doesn't do anything until it's starving again. So don't get comfortable, because when we're comfortable, we become lazy. Actually, I was writing about that with the 4 enemies of discipline, and that was one of them, comfort. Anyway, I don't know. If there's something else to say, I'll put my hand up again, but there you go, folks.
Well
Good
done.
job, George.
Good done.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
So this is Tina.
Tina.
I wanted to kind of talk over into Kristine's little statement about not being good at sales. So this story comes from Dean Graziosi. Anyways, his wife is a is a very top high scale beautician, and she would always tell him, "Oh, I am not a salesman. I am not a salesman. I don't do sales." And yet a woman would walk up and she would say, "You know, my hair just looks like crap." And she goes, "Oh no, honey, we can do this, and we'll add the color and we'll put highlights in." And then of course Dean would just sit there and shake his head. He's like, "And you tell me you're not in sales?" It's about how we talk about it. Instead of selling, she wasn't selling. She was talking to the client about what she could do to help her hair and get her hair strong and get her hair beautiful. She wasn't selling anything to her. She literally loved her work and knew that she could transform this lady's hair into this magnificent appearance, because that's what she knew she could do. And if we don't look at the way that we're talking as being salesy, and Kristine, I have had the same trouble in this field, but the field that I came in from here, which was natural health, I had no problem because I totally believed in everything I was telling my client. You need this, you need that, we need to go through here, we'll send you over there. I knew what was best for them. And so I have to remind myself in this field that that's exactly the way I need to communicate, not just to my clients, but in my case, I have to communicate that to the people that are helping me bring in clients. So my referral partners, specifically the attorneys, I have to talk to them in a way that they know I am here to support them, not take business away from them. So it's all about how we choose to look. And I can get into the famine really easy when I get back away from everything and think that this is too hard or I'm not good at sales. I right away take myself into famine, just like you guys were saying earlier about being a mindset. What we think about, we bring about. So it all fits into there. Thank you.
Well done, Tina. Well done indeed. What we think about, that's what goes on. And the sort of, George was talking about being comfortable and what happens there. And I think that's so darn honest, George. And that is so true for all of us, not just you, for all of us. One thing in terms of a product that you were talking about, Kristine, okay? One thing that worked for me, if I was going to create a product, is to create a very specific product for a very specific problem, for a very specific audience. The more specific I could make it, the easier it was for me to find the right people to talk to. Anyway, food for thought. Gabby, over to you.
Hi. So, I was going to say that for me, something that has been incredibly helpful, first of all, coming to these meetings has been so helpful, honestly, and reflecting on a lot of things. So, thank you for having this meet all the time. Like, I learned so many great things. But I think that in terms of sale, like, I got to speak to Brian a little bit, and he actually gave some excellent insight into some things. Like, I think the way that I shaped like some of my phrasing before, it was kind of like not the best, you know? And I also believe that a lot of it stemmed from the way that I kind of like perceived myself subconsciously. And I think that when you become confident in what you have to offer, you're able to offer it a lot better and sell a lot better without having really to try selling. And something that I have personally learned is, like you just said, being able to have specific product for people is really helpful. But I also realize having a more versatile product. So, like having specifics in each product, but a wide range of them for different people targeting certain things has been very helpful. So, like with me, for example, at Elvel, before I was just kind of like doing a website design, right? But when I was able to expand all of the cards, like not cards, they're cards on my website. That's why I said that because I'm visualizing it. But if you look at my website, now I have it where I have offerings for each individual thing. And people have been way more receptive to that because it's clear for them to understand when they go. Because people don't really want to have to scavenge through your offerings if they want something. They just want to be able to get what they need to help them and then move on. And they want to have that connection with you. But sometimes having too much and not simplifying it can interfere with the sale and interfere with people understanding what you have to offer. So that is something I think that's helped me kind of like with selling things per se, because like now it's less of having to explain and talk to people. It's more so they just kind of see it and know exactly what is being offered.
Well said, Gabby, and I'm so pleased you've been speaking with someone like Brian who can really put you in the right direction. Well done indeed. Well done. Okay. Vangelis, over to you. Then Daniel, if you get a chance, you can finish it up with us. So Vangelis, what about you? You've got your hand raised.
It's also knowing where your money goes. I had several colleagues and friends that would tell me they don't ever have any money. And I said, would you mind if I sat with you and just looked at your in and out, right? And just looking at their expenses and income, I said, well, every month you should be having this much money. I said, well, we never had that. I said, well, you don't know, you got to find out where your money's leaking out. So sometimes it's just a practical thing where you could call it a budget, but I mean, I know where every penny goes. And so it's a matter of just knowing where, I mean, and who knows when someone says I make a lot of money, it's relative. It's relative to the lifestyle that you want to have. I mean, I knew guys that made $1 million a year and they were always complaining, and then people that made $50,000 a year and they just could do everything right. So it's what your lifestyle that you want to have, and if you want to have a certain lifestyle, then make the money for it. I mean, there's so many people that I admit that, I would ask people, I'd say, what are you doing on Friday night? And they'd say, well, I'm with my family. So, well, I'm flying to my next location. What are you doing on Sunday? Well, I'm with my family. Well, I'm setting up for my class I'm going to be doing for the week. So it's what you really enjoy doing. It's not, people say it's not work. That's great. But, having the idea of where your money goes is very critical. Thanks.
Well said. I love that idea. Relativity is what it's all about. Because courses for courses, we're all different. Thank you very much, Vangelis. Very much indeed. Daniel.
Well, I concur very much to what was said, and Vangelis, what you just said now. I mean, it's for me, it was always about how do you say, I knew what I needed, but I mean, the way of life I've had, I mean, it was always about, helping people. And it was, I didn't have a lot of needs in a way. So I could adjust, what I spent on my income. And obviously, some people, for instance, like, to buy branded products and things like that. I mean, it is not me, I think it's not part of my kind of values. So in a way, I managed to kind of put some money aside, and then so that sometimes rough times happens, but I've got the opportunity to cover. So, and again, you see now, I mentioned it several times, but really, in my last years, becoming more aware, I mean, becoming more grateful about, everything, I have and people around me, and living a life which is fully aligned with myself. This helped me so much. So, and now I just like to come back to the comments from Tina and, and Gabby about, about sales, because really, when people come to us, it's not about what we have to offer. In a way, our program, I don't think they care. They really care about, they have a problem. How are we going to help them solve this problem? Which transformation are we going to bring to them? So when we really are in this listening mode, it's really specific, because we can have a program. Of course, we have a frame, but they're only interested in what is going to work for them. So the more we adjust to them, the more we are really listening. And again, it's, we adjust. And this is, when we understand what they're paying, how, when, what's the timeline? When we make them aware as well, or remind them, what's the issue if they don't solve it now? And all this kind, it becomes a very, easy conversation. In a way, it's never about pushing anything. It's really about about listening, about, building this kind of trusting relationship, and just said, look, this is how I can help you, and then up to them to decide. So it's about being very, very honest. And remember one thing as well: if people don't want to work with us or can't, it's absolutely fine. It's like, sometimes the timing is not right, or there can be different things, but it's really about helping, providing value, and then, just going with the flow.
Thank you, Daniel. Going with the flow. Last word from you, Tony. By the way, you blew me away in the comments section when you said the term cycles of starvation. Wow, that's what you call hitting the nail right on the head. Over to you. Go.
Since we're sharing personal stories, I have one when I was growing my concrete business. We mix our product with an aggregate, which is a lightweight aggregate, and cement. And back in the day, we were struggling to build the business. And I borrowed a few dollars to buy some material for a big job I got, and I couldn't afford all the material. So I was at Home Depot, and the price was crazy for cement, and I couldn't get what I needed. And then I made a phone call and borrowed another $300, and I was running around the store trying to find help, and I couldn't find help to get the pallet down from the top rack. Long story short, as I went out back, climbed under this overhead door that was halfway up, and a forklift is flying by, zoom. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. I need you to help me load that in my truck. He goes, you don't want this. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's type N cement. I said, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Can you help me put that in? I don't need to get it on the overhead. He goes, I'm putting this up front. It's free. I said, what? He said, it's free. My battery's going to die. Damn it. Oh, here we go. It's free. I said, what? He goes, if you take it right now, I'll load it right in your truck, no charge. So what I'm saying is align with the universe, and the universe aligns with you. I stopped really trying and struggling, and I realized that God provides me with everything I need. The more I force my will on this world, the harder it gets for me, because all I know is what I know. So more of what I know that didn't work doesn't make it work any better. You have to step back, take a breath, and realize that it's for you, not at you, or because I didn't wake up today and have God tell me that my life is not good. He tells me it's really good. And that's what I run with these days, because if you be where your feet are, and you'll get what you need, financially or indifferent. And thank you all for stimulating that memory in me, and that's what this mastermind is all about. We stimulate people's thought process and go back to some of the stuff that makes us who we really are. I love this group. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And you made a very good point. Step back. And when you step back, don't feel guilty about it. Okay, that's critical. Finish this off, Daniel, because we're nearly out of time. Over to you.
No, well, actually, I just wanted to reply to Tony's comment. It's fantastic. And you know what? I used to be an overthinker. I used to be a perfectionist. I used to chase. You know what? And this was so detrimental in my life. And when I really, kind of changed over the past few years, and really letting go of the fears, trusting myself, trusting my instinct, and opportunities like what you mentioned, they just arrived, synchronicities arrived. So it's really, it might feel strange first, but things do happen when you have certainty in your way, and really you feel it, and you live it, and you love it. Things happen. So thank you so much, Tony, for your share.
Daniel, you speak with so much passion, it just shines out of your eyes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I love that.
Wow.
Okay, everybody, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Kristine. Thank you very much. Brian, Gabby, George, Tony, Vangelis, thank you very much for sharing your time, and Tina, for sharing your time with us, and I look forward to seeing you this time next week. Okay. All the best. Take care. Bye for now.